The drag and drop onto image question is a question type that allows you to configure text-based or image-based answers that can be then dragged onto a larger image. This will seem a little overwhelming at first because there's going to be a lot of information on the page, but I promise it's a lot easier than it looks. To create a drag and drop onto image question, click the Create a New Question button in the question bank, scroll down, and double-click Drag and Drop onto Image. On the next page, you'll need to enter a question name and question text. A bit further down the page, in the preview section, you'll upload a background image. I want to emphasize, since this question is based around an image, it is unfortunately one of the few question types that is not accessible to students who are blind or visually impaired. So if you do have a student who is blind or visually impaired, you should consider using a different question type to assess whatever you're attempting to assess with this. Assuming that I don't have a student who has a visual impairment, I've uploaded an image here, and this will be the image that my students will be dragging text or images over top of. The next section is the draggable items section, and there will appear to be a lot of content here, but you can ignore most of it, especially if you're not uploading images to drag onto the existing image. If you just want to have text that the students would drag onto this image, let's say to label it in some way, you would change the type from draggable image to draggable text, and you would enter the text in the text box here. Everything in between is just related to file uploads if you did want to upload an image that would be dragged over top of the existing image. In this case, if we're going with labeling, we're in the library here, so I might pick chair, student, computer, window, things like that. I'll go ahead and fill out some of those now. Now you may have noticed that I added two distractors into here. You could do that, especially if those answers are not something that are going to appear on the image. What I would encourage you to do is if you do have a response that might be used multiple times, check the unlimited box. Otherwise, each of these draggable items that you've entered can only be used once. If you check the unlimited box, that item can be dragged onto multiple response areas that you configure later. But now we've uploaded our overall image, we've entered in draggable items, which in this example will be draggable text, and the next thing that we need to do is go to the drop zones section. This can also feel a little overwhelming. You can ignore everything in here and only select the draggable item that you want to be in each drop zone. In this case, I'm only going to select these three options because these are my actual answers, and I'll ignore the two distractors. Now that I've selected these draggable items in this drop-down menu, I'm actually going to go back up to my overall image. And what you can see is the text boxes that I've added have now appeared. All I have to do at this point is click and drag these to where the responses would be, and that's it. From here, the only other thing I would recommend is, in the draggable items section, checking shuffle drag items each time the question is attempted. That way, if the students end up taking this quiz multiple times, it will constantly shuffle their responses. I'm going to go ahead and save this question and then preview it so that you can see what it looks like. This is what the students would see. From here, they would just drag and drop the boxes of text, which are much larger for them, over top of the areas with the correct responses.